You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. And we're next to be talking to Andy from Kent Fire and Rescue Sheerness here on the Isle of Sheppey. It's part of a little regular slot I have to do with the local fire brigade. And of course we're catching up with Andy as we approach Christmas and winter as well. Firstly, as always, it's good to have you back in the studio.
Good evening, Daniel.
Well, I was hoping you could perhaps start off by doing some relevant fire safety advice regarding Christmas and the home.
Well, tonight what I'm going to cover is we're going to try and look at ways we can stay safe up to Christmas, staying safe in the home, keeping your loved ones safe, staying safe on the road so that you can have a safe but good Christmas. So what we'd like to do is now's the time that we're now getting our Christmas decorations out. There's a lot of houses that are decorated already. And you may be thinking, perhaps this weekend you're going to start decorating your trees, putting your lights up outside. We'd like you to sort of think safety while you're doing this, really. When you're putting your lights up, just take a few minutes to check the length of the cable. Check that there are there's no bare wires, that if they've been stored, that there's no little rodents have been at the wires and made them dangerous. Make sure you unravel the cables fully so they're not twisted. And one thing I'd like to say is the power packs that come with them in the low voltage sets of lights. Make sure you're using the correct one for the correct set of lights, because sometimes if you use a too higher voltage pack, it can burn the lights out and perhaps create a fire. So one top tip that was told to us last year was label the power packs up as you get them out of the box, because we all know you can never get them back in the box next year. So when you get them out next year, that you'll know which pack to use with which set of lights. A lot of lights now are low voltage and LED. But if you have an older set of lights that maybe use the tungsten bulbs, they create a bit of heat. So just think, don't place them against any flammable decorations on your tree. Keep them away from any materials. Would ask you don't leave them unattended for a long period of time, and certainly turn them off when you go out. And don't overload the sockets. Yeah, we never have enough sockets in our houses, and it's all too tempting to load loads of cables into one socket. Just bear in mind that the more electricity they have, the more heat is generated in a confined space, and that could lead to quite a tremendous heat build-up. There's a lot of trailing leads as well, so try and keep them tucked away. Never run them under your carpets, because that will wear the cable out and could cause a smouldering fire.
We've been talking all about relevant fire safety advice regarding Christmas and the home, and I think we're going to continue on with that subject.
Yes, Daniel, I mean, you've got the turkey, you've put up your tinsel, the arrangement for Christmas. Especially at this time, people invite people round to their houses and they may stay. So this is a really good time to think about preparing an escape plan. Now when you say to people about preparing an escape plan, you think, well, I know my way around my house. Well, your visitors won't. So perhaps try looking at your house through a visitor's eyes. If you've got loved ones staying over, think how you would get out and how you would get your loved ones out, because they may be staying on sofa beds and things in different rooms. The sort of things we ask people to look out for is keeping the exit routes clear. Houses get full of clutter over Christmas, so before you go to bed, as part of a bedtime routine, which we'll cover in a minute, is just check your stairs are clear, the front door is clear, and when we talk about an escape route, it's the route from where people are sleeping to the final exit door, whichever one you choose. So look at perhaps thinking of your main route but creating an alternative just in case that one is blocked. Make sure your family know that the smoke alarms are working. Think about who's holding the keys. There's a balance between security and being able to get out in the event of an emergency. So where the keys are, and make sure you have a method of calling the fire brigade in case you can't get out the property. If you have working smoke alarms, it puts your chances of spotting the early signs of a fire really high, and the chances are you'll be able to get out the property before any serious smoke logging takes place. So that's the key, is to make sure your smoke alarms are working. With some high events that have happened, perhaps locally, is if you are in a communal building where you have to go through your front door out into a communal area and out to the final exit door. This is really important that your visitors know the way out. There is an interesting case study on the website with the glass house fire, which is a communal building. So when we talk about flats in this case, so the Kent Fire Service website on the Your Safety section has a case study on the glass house. There are other things that you can do to ensure that you reduce the risk. Things like smoking indoors, set the rules early, no smoking indoors, and certainly avoid smoking in the bedrooms, because this is a high area where fires occur. People falling asleep, especially if they've consumed alcohol, the bedding catches fire, and that increases the chances of death a lot. Candles, especially if you've got children, if you're buying special candles for Christmas, certainly don't leave them unattended, and ensure that they're placed on a non-flammable surface, away from any drafts and any other flammable materials such as curtains or Christmas decorations. Put them out when you go out the room, and don't leave them in the reach of small children, because they're very inquisitive. So we want people to have a happy Christmas, but we want them to stay safe over Christmas as well.
I know that next we were going to cover, and I've noticed it on your website news feed, about a recent incident.
Yes, Daniel. I mean, this is quite sad. I can't talk about the specifics of the incident, but we've very recently attended a house fire in Sheerness, where sadly there was a catastrophic damage to a family home, and so close to Christmas, which is sad for all, especially as it was a family home. There's a rising trend of fires in the home caused by e-cigarettes, and this event unfortunately being attributed to one of these devices. We suspect that the incident was caused by the battery canister being plugged into the incorrect charger and receiving a far higher voltage than what it was designed for. Nationally, recent figures into e-cigarettes have revealed there's been an increase over the last 2 years. For instance, in 2012 there were just 8 emergency service call-outs to e-cigarette fires, but the figures rose to 43 last year, and so far this year, up to November, there's been 62. So this is 113 homes that have been devastated in this same way, and it's feared these figures could be a lot worse because many incidents may not have been reported. What we suspect happened in this case is the cartridge of the battery canister was projected from its casing at a very high heat, and these canisters can travel a fair distance. It then set fire to combustible material within the room, and sadly 80% of the room was damaged by fire, and the remainder of the floor of the house was severely damaged by smoke. So we see firsthand the catastrophic events that can happen. What we would urge people to do, if there's a safety message here, is, if you use one of these devices, and if you're considering using one when you take up your New Year's resolution to give up smoking, is read the manufacturer's instructions. Some of these devices don't come with a charger, and it's very tempting to use a phone charger, but these chargers give quite a high voltage, higher than what the battery is intended. If the manufacturer's instructions state to charge via a USB port from a laptop or a computer, then do so. The convenience of plugging them into a mobile phone charger has catastrophic consequences. So we would urge you to read the instructions, retain the instructions, and should you pass any of these sorts of things on to other people, make sure you give them the instructions as well. So it's really important on this one. It's a device that has raised concerns, and we're seeing the consequences. Some people are given these devices, and the print may be very small. So make sure you read them fully before you use these devices and understand the associated risks.
Wanted to move on to driving safety.
Yes, Daniel. I mean, road safety is now a large part of Kent Fire and Rescue's work. Every day, Kent Fire and Rescue Service are called to road crashes. We attend about 1,000 of these a year. Obviously, we see firsthand the devastating effects of these crashes. We often have to cut the victims free from the wreckage. We work closely with many of our partners, such as the Highways Agency, Kent County Council, Kent Police and the Ambulance Service. And this year we're supporting the Kent County Council's Christmas Road Safety campaign. You may have seen the road safety signs, is one drink worth the risk? That's the message that's going over this year. Is one drink worth the risk? So when we're talking about when you're thinking of going out, it's probably safer that nobody drives. Arrange a taxi beforehand. Pre-book your arrangements to get yourself home. It's all too tempting for the nominated driver just to have one drink, and it's not worth the risk, to be honest. So we're especially at night, you need to have a big awareness of other road users. You may not have had a drink, but other road users may have irresponsibly had a drink. So be aware, give yourself a little bit more room, and drive to the conditions. Especially at this time of the year, if it's cold, wet or foggy, your stopping distance can increase by up to 4 times. So drive to the conditions, drive well within the speed limits, and just drive to your ability, and drive safely. So we touched slightly there on drink, but also drugs, and it's impossible for you to know how much alcohol will put you over the limit. The safest option is not to drink, and even if you've got passengers that have had a little bit too much to drink at their Christmas party, they may be more of a distraction for the driver. So it's the driver's responsibility for his passengers, and you can refuse to take anybody in your vehicle that you feel may be a risk to your driving safety. So that leads me into the distraction. That can be another killer. So never distract the driver, however tempting it may be to show your YouTube videos on the way home of your evening. Just having that playing in the background can be a distraction for the driver, and it only takes 1 split second for the driver to lose their concentration and crash. So certainly the driver should turn his mobile phone off. But we're just asking the passengers to be a little bit more considerate and perhaps think about putting their mobile phones on silent, and waiting until they get home, until they share their YouTube videos and their photographs of the evening, and don't distract the driver. Overcrowding is another issue. Cars have a fixed amount of seat belts for a reason. If all the seats are already taken, don't be tempted to take any more passengers than there are a number of seat belts. And if you're asked to get in the car, just squeeze in, it'll be okay. Don't take the risk. So, we talked about going out over Christmas, but there are other things that you can do to prepare your car for winter. Really, there are companies that offer a pre-winter check, but there's things that you can do yourself. So, biggest thing is check your tyres. Check you've got loads of wear on your tyres. If you're in any doubt, you can take it to a garage and they will check them for you. Make sure you've got plenty of washer fluid in your windscreen wash, because that gets used very quickly over the winter. They've started gritting the roads 2 days ago, so the roads are already salty. As soon as we get a bit of rain, that's going to dirty up your windscreen and you'll be using it up quickly. So check it before you go out on any journey. Check your fluid levels, your oil levels, and top up if required. And check your lights. Check they're working, first of all, but also check that they're clean. Yeah, the dirt on your windscreen you can wash off with your windscreen wipers, but your lights get dirty as well. That not only affects your vision, it affects how other cars see you. So check your windscreen wipers, your child seats, and your seat belts should be checked regularly as well.
Hoping you could cover, or if you wanted to cover any extra safety advice.
Well, we want everybody to have a safe and happy Christmas. This starts now by making sure your home is safe. You may recall in earlier interviews we've talked about the 3 breaths campaign, and how 3 breaths of smoke can render you unconscious. So if I said to you the chemicals cyanide, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid and chlorine gas, what would they mean to you? Well, those are the chemicals that the stuff in your home gives off when it's burning. That's what goes into the smoke, and that's what you breathe in. 3 breaths of that and you're unconscious. How do you avoid those 3 breaths happening in the first place? By simply making sure you have a working smoke alarm fitted to your property. People often ignore these little smoke alarms on the ceiling, get annoyed with them when they go off with the toast, remove the batteries, forget to replace them. That is a killer. Smoke is a killer. Make sure your smoke alarm is working. Make sure the battery is fit for purpose and is working. Make sure you have a stock of batteries for your children's toys on Christmas Day, and never remove the one from your smoke alarm. And make sure your children know what it sounds like and what to do in the event of a fire. So Kent Fire and Rescue has a wealth of advice. They've got lots of videos uploaded on their new website. We've just revamped the website, which can be found on kent.fire-uk.org. These links are all on Daniel's blog, where you can view the videos. They're all done by staff that work for Kent Fire and Rescue. You can share stuff on the Facebook page. Visit the Kent Fire and Rescue Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter. Or for those that aren't of the digital age, you can make a phone call to Kent Fire and Rescue. It's a free phone number where everybody can ring it. It's 0800 923 7000. They'll ask you some questions, they'll determine your circumstances, and they'll either offer you advice over the phone, or if necessary they might send a team out to assess your home and provide you a free home safety visit, and if required fit smoke alarms, one per level of your property, and so that you're safe. But you need to prepare your homes now, and Kent Fire and Rescue wish all the listeners a very happy Christmas.
Andy, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along as always, and yourself have a very good Christmas as well.
Thank you very much.
That is Andy right here at BRFM, coming in as part of the regular slot we do with the Kent Fire and Rescue Service Sheerness right here at BRFM on the Monday Night Community Show.